Yo, what is up guys, Delirium here, and in today's video I'm going to give you guys the basics of breeding Sentinels, one of the most important parts of making an absolute killing with the Sentinel mechanic. Now also in this video I'm going to give you guys a few tips and optimizations I've found over playing with the mechanic. First of all, I want to go on record and say that Sentinel by far is one of the most rewarding lead mechanics we've ever seen. After playing with it and after talking to a lot of other people playing with it, and overall it's easily one of the strongest we've ever had in terms of rewards, and in my opinion the fun factor is off the scales. To give you guys a bit of an idea, in the past 2 days just with Sentinel and the altar strategy which I described earlier, I've farmed 2 Mage Bloods with my friend Firegrass. In 2 days, 2 Mage Bloods. It's completely crazy. And in addition to that, there's also variations on this strategy. My friend Jodox farmed his Mage Blood in white maps, no less, exclusively from Sentinel. It's absolutely ridiculous how strong it is, and there's a ton of other people getting similar results. So if you're looking to make some cash in white maps, yellow maps, red maps, any maps, Sentinel is your destination. And of course, understanding it can yield to 200, 300, 400% higher efficiency if you know what you're doing on the amount you can earn. And we're all still learning. It's absolutely crazy how in-depth this mechanic is. But of course, first, if you're enjoying the Sentinel videos, you're enjoying this league, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out. Okay. So let's dive in. First of all, I want to give you guys a massive efficiency booster. So we have a new way to sort Sentinels here. Let me just pick out some Sentinels from my really good quad tab here, and we'll chuck them, just randomly sprinkle them in here into these dump tabs, and I'll show you guys the power of the new Sorting REGEX that we have. So previously we had a super convoluted system. It was no good. We now have, courtesy of my Discord bros, thank you so much Discord bros, a new regex that is going to help you sort Sentinels fast and efficiently and only give you the good ones. So this is going to be down in the description below. Just copy and paste it into your window after identifying all the Sentinels, and you will find absolutely gold mine of Sentinels. So here is the regex. It looks pretty complicated, but that is what we're going to be looking at here. It basically highlights all of the good rewards. Now, things this doesn't highlight is increased item quantity on Sentinels, and it also doesn't highlight increased charges. So if you're after those, you might need to find a different regex. However, in my opinion, those aren't important when grinding currency with Sentinel, unless you're specifically doing expedition. But that is another video for another time. All right, so when you paste that in, you can see that it highlights all of the good Sentinels. So this one's currency, divination card, ritual. You can see this one highlights here, the currency. And you can see this one down here, currency. So it's basically gonna make it incredibly fast to get these things out, get them in a good dump tab, and in the end, you'll end up with a tab that looks like mine. Literally every single Sentinel in this tab, apart from this one, is a good Sentinel. You know, whether it's fossils, currency, donation cards, Harbinger, Metamorph, anything. All of them are good. How did I get these? I literally just picked up all of the blue and red Sentinels off the floor. I put them in my dump tab, identified them all, I put this regex in, and I put them in my quad tab. That's it. It's really low maintenance. It's really awesome. And you're going to have more than enough than you can ever use, which then breeds us into Sentinel breeding. Okay, so this is actually a lot more simple than you might think, but also a lot more complex than you might think. It's a bit weird. Now, I don't actually know everything yet. I'm still testing, and you can expect plenty more videos on this topic and more topics in the future. However, I want to give you guys the basics right now, right here. Okay, so the first thing you're doing with Sentinel is, of course, breeding them up. And the reason you want to breed them up is first and foremost to perpetuate the modifiers which you get, which are the best. Okay, so the first modifier that I want to talk a little bit about is Expedition, to give you guys an example. So there's plenty of mods like Expedition, but if you do get one like Expedition or like Sentinel rewards, and you fully use it, you've gone out, you've used it, and you've got all the rewards from it, you were like, damn, that was awesome. How do I hit the repeat button on that? That is where Sentinel breeding comes in. However, there's a few tips here that you want to use, and explanations on power cores, which are going to allow you to essentially maybe further use that Expedition reward one, or Sentinel reward one, or currency reward one, whatever you want, again and again and again and again, and make it even stronger and stronger and stronger by crossbreeding it with other Sentinels. And in addition to that, you can also potentially increase its efficiency by many-fold by getting it on a better base, and that is really the aim of the game. Okay, so we all understand that there's different bases of Sentinels, and the better one that you get, the more monsters it's going to empower, the more times you're going to be able to use it, and the longer it's going to last, and all sorts of stuff like that. So that is number one. And we also know that there's tiers of these modifiers. So you can see here, I have a tier 1 expedition roll, but however, the lower tiers are really low. So you could get 1% expedition, or you could go all the way up to 3% expedition. So if you have 3% expedition, it's 3 times as good, 3 times as many rewards. That's actually crazy. So you have a ton of more multipliers that you have full control over. To give you guys quickly an example. So let's say that you have a 3% expedition and you tried to get it on a really, really good high charge base and you doubled the charges. You just doubled your money after doubling the charges of the base. That is kind of what we're working with here. And if you breed them correctly, you really can make a massive difference. Something like a Primeval Stalker Sentinel has 27 charges here. That is absolutely absurd. Compared to a Brimstone, which may only have 10 or even 8 in some cases, it's absolutely a far cry. Imagine getting expedition on this Brimstone with the 27 charges. That is absolutely unreal. It's basically the value of 3 Stalker Sentinels with expedition. Okay, so the question is now, how do you get these insane bases? How do you breed Sentinels like this? And how can you make the cash? Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to understand is power cores and when you should be using them. Okay, so the first power core is the Jank power core. You get these the most, and you're going to have hundreds of them if you're playing the league long enough. Now, in my opinion, these power cores should never be used on any merge or breeding session which you actually care about. The purpose of these power cores is to mass merge all of the bulk in your stash, either for unique Sentinels or alternate bases that you can graft other good modifiers onto. There'll be videos on that pretty soon. In addition to that, you can also use the basic power cores on your bulk to re-roll them, and hopefully you get a new good mod. But yeah, the basic power core, essentially what I'm saying here is you don't need to use it. Next up though, the best power core, in my opinion, is the Transforming Power Core. The Transforming Power Core has a chance to upgrade the base when you merge them, and it's actually a significantly higher chance to upgrade that base. You can see here I'm using 2 augmented bases. We've got the Primeval here, and we also have the Ancient. And that is exactly what I've been doing. Anytime I make a merge, which I actually care about, and it's not already got a really, really good base, always use the Transforming Power Core. Now, I'm not saying you should go out and buy these, but you should definitely use them if you have them. You should have a few of them lying around, and I'm going to give you an example right now of when you would use this. Okay, so here I have a basic Obsidian Sentinel, which doesn't really have anything too crazy on it. And I also have a depleted Sentinel here with Sentinel rewards, which I really want to make sure I get more of. Now, neither of them are on a good base yet. They're both on Obsidian, which isn't bad, but they're not on insane bases yet. So in this case, I would use the Transforming Power Core, and that's what I would be after here, which would be really, really good. And I'd have a chance at getting an even better base, which is exactly what you want. The next power core to talk about here is amplifying. Now, amplifying power cores can be used in 2 different scenarios. So the first scenario is that you're combining a Sentinel, which is already on a good base, with another Sentinel, and you don't really have any desire to try and get a upgraded base again, because you already have a 50-50 of that Sentinel to come out as a good base. And we'll get to the rates in a second here. In this case, you would try and upgrade the mods instead. So this, I believe, is not tier 1 Delirium, it's tier 3. So I'm already got a good base. I've already got, like the mod that I want, and I'm merging it, and I really just want to upgrade that modifier and have a chance at keeping the good base. So in this case, I would use the Amplifying Power Core, because I don't need the Transforming one. I need to upgrade the tiers of the mod. So I would go for the Amplifying here in this case. The last power core is actually used for mass merging from my perspective as well. So if you have, again, a quad tab of 2 of Sentinels and you got a bunch of these augmenting power cores, you can essentially combine them, have a small chance at getting an alternate base or unique, but also a reasonable chance at just getting better mods. Maybe you get Expedition, maybe you get like something like Scarab or something like that along those lines. And that's what I would use augmenting power cores for. So you can see here in the actual serious breeding, you're mainly using amplifying power cores and you're mainly using transforming power cores. All right, let's move on to modifiers on Sentinels, because this is a pretty important part. Now that we understand power cores and now we understand the efficiencies, this is the next part to get. Okay, so the modifiers on Sentinels can go up to 6. They can never exceed 3 prefixes and 3 suffixes. That is the rule. So So in essence, when you have any Sentinel that you merge with a power core, you'll never get a resulting Sentinel with more than 6 modifiers. However, the catch is you can actually put 2 Sentinels in, both with 6 modifiers. So what happens when you merge them and you get 12 mods in the pool and it's going to turn into 6? Well, you're going to lose modifiers. That is the case. So when you're merging Sentinels, from my experience and others' experience, it has about a 50-50 chance of keeping every modifier on both of the bases. So for example, if you have 2 mods on Sentinel 1 and 2 mods on Sentinel 2, you have a 50-50 chance whenever it goes down the line to keep the mods. Now, what I'm trying to explain here is what happens when you have 2 Sentinels with 6 mods, and it has the Sentinel base, and it has 50-50 chance of keeping each 6 mods. Well, you can't really do that. On average, it should work out, but what if you win the 50-50 on 7 out of the 12 mods? Well, you're going to get one of the mods culled, and that could be the mod that you wanted. Okay, so the first lesson is to make sure you don't merge and overload prefixes and suffixes. Okay, so you can see here, this one has 2 prefixes and 3 suffixes, and this one I would merge in with has 1 prefix and 1 suffix. So it is overloaded. You have 4 suffixes in the pool here, and if I win the 50-50 on all the 4 suffixes, one of them will get removed, unfortunately, and that does reduce your chance to actually get the 50-50 of getting the thing that you wanted to graft or move and merge on in the result. So the first lesson is try and make sure that you never have a sum total of more than 3 prefixes and 3 suffixes if you really care what you're merging with, because you will reduce your chance from a 50-50 below that to 48% or something like that. So that is lesson number 1. Lesson number 2, never merge 2 of the same good mod. So for example, if you had 2 Scarab Sentinels which were depleted and you were like, oh man, I'm going to merge them together, I'm getting a higher chance at getting a good Scarab one. That is actually not the case. If you think about it logically, if you have a 50-50 chance to get a Scarab one and you put both of the Scarab ones in, yes, that specific merge will have a higher chance of rolling Scarab. However, what if you put both of those in and they both roll a 50-50 and you win both of the Scarab ones? Well, you actually just lost a Scarab Sentinel because you were going to win both of the 50-50s. You would have won the 50-50 on the first one, and then you would have merged another one, and you would have got another Scarab one. You would have ended up with 2 Scarab ones. So in the case of good modifiers of the same type, never ever merge them together on the same base unless you don't really care about them. So if you have 2 Scarab ones, do 2 separate merges. It's going to give you an estimated higher chance of success overall. That is the next point. So those 2 are really the big critical details. Never merge the same modifiers, which you actually care about, and also never, if you really do care, exceed the 4 suffix or 4 prefix, whichever one you care about, rule, because you will have a lower chance of success. So those are the 2 things to worry about. Okay, so the next thing we want to talk about is base type. Okay, so this does get a little bit more advanced, but we have the example here I'm talking about. So the base type, as I mentioned, is a massive deal. If you can procure some cryptic stalkers or some primeval stalkers and you merge them with your existing already good mods, then you can get some absolutely ludicrous results. So we're actually going to merge some Sentinels here. So in this case, we have a Cryptic Stalker base with a good mod, and we're merging it with another good mod here, and we're going to try and get both the Delirium and the Divination card. So in this case, we do actually have 4 suffixes. Look, it's going to be hard to get exactly 3 in a lot of cases with some of these rare Sentinels, so just go for at least 4, which means you're going to want some magic Sentinels in your arsenal as well, and if you can, you're trying to get increased charges as well here. So we're going to merge them up, and we're going to see. So we lost our Cryptic base, unfortunately. That is unfortunate. Let's see if we get the Delirium. We got the Divination. We actually lost our Delirium, so that was actually a complete disaster. However, we did level up the Divination card one here. Okay, so that is just unlucky. We lost 2 50-50s, we lost the base, and we lost the Delirium, but that's okay, we move on. That is going to happen to you, but sometimes you can win multiple 50-50s. Last night, I won 4 50-50s on my Expedition Pandemonium Sentinel. It's still alive. Pretty damn good, and it's on a really good base. Anyway, so now, in this case, we're going to try and make sure that the Sentinel reward survives here, and we're hoping with this Transforming Power Core to get an upgraded base. Okay, so we didn't get an upgraded base. Let's see what we get here, though. So we got, oh, wait, ooh, oh, we actually lost again. That is unfortunate. You know, you can't win them all. But overall, you can get some pretty damn good ones. If you follow the methodology, you will eventually, on average, get much, much more bang for your buck. Okay, so the next thing I want to explain here is the basics of calculating Sentinel value. Okay, so the thing which you need to understand is it's unlike any mechanic before, because if you employ the tips that I just gave you, you can turn a Sentinel, which in theory should generate like 80 chaos, into a breeding program which should generate multiple exalts. So let's say that you buy an Expedition Sentinel, right? And you expect to make 80 chaos from that Sentinel. However, you do run it, you do make your 80 chaos, and then you breed it and it lives. And you breed it on a good base, and you maybe even upgraded the tier. Well, now you get another round of it, but it's going to be way better than ADC. So the actual buying and selling of Sentinel market will all depend on how good you are at breeding Sentinels, making sure you play the odds, making sure you have really good bases to graft onto. So for example, if you do mass merging, you can get all of these really crazy cryptic bases, which are literally twice as good as the standard obsidian. And you graft like a good mod that you bought onto that. Ooh, yes, you can see how it's all lining up, dude. You graft the expedition, it's got 20 uses, it empowers twice the enemies, it's literally 4 times as efficient, man. You're gonna make so much more money than someone who's not doing that. Now, I know this is a lot to take in, but please let me know if any of this confuses you. Hopefully you guys understand at least how to use power cores and the 2 big rules of breeding Sentinels: to never exceed the suffixes and also never breed good mods with good mods. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. There is so much more Sentinel content coming, man. I'm serious. You guys are going to be able to get Maze Blood and White maps. You guys are going to have a calculator to discover how good you're going to get, how much money you're going to get from each Sentinel. It's going to be nuts. It's really going to be nuts. Hope you guys are enjoying the videos. I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.